Hey everyone.
I'm Jane.
I'm Kitten.
As you know, my name is Pat. It's that time again. It's time for another episode of the Kinky Christian Podcast.
And away we go.
Rock and roll, right? Okay. With that, welcome back. You have found us once again, the Kinky Christian Podcast. I don't know if you intentionally found us or if you were just surfing the web and found us, but here we are. I'm your host, Pat.
I'm Kitten.
Co-host.
Go host. Okay.
And my wife and lovely Kitten. So, we are going to continue our series with biblical sex in Leviticus. I know the last episode we did on this was kind of rough for a lot of people, and we just want everyone to know that we hold no judgment on anyone. You have to live your life how you want to live your life, and your relationship with God is your relationship with God. That's first and foremost. You know, we do our best to follow the Bible because we do believe that that's God's inspired word, and we don't judge, we don't hold anything against anyone because we're all sinners, and sexual sin is just another sin, you know. So, again, it's all about love for us, you know. So, we are going to dive right in, and just a forewarning, I don't want to cause any more trauma than we already have out there, but we will be dealing with...
Excuse me.
Oh, you okay?
Sorry. I'm okay.
We are going to be dealing with some of the same topics we dealt with in the last episode about Leviticus and biblical sex, but it goes a little deeper. We're gonna learn a little more about that. But first,
Dun dun dun.
Clarion, dun dun dun.
The witch boy.
Before we jump into that, we have a couple other verses that kind of, for some odd reason, I don't really understand why, but they kind of stuck this in and then went back to this other stuff. It's kind of weird, but that's what the Bible does a lot. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to Leviticus 19 and read you a couple verses from there that we found on sex. Do you want to read these, Kit?
I can read them.
You sure? Because your throat's kind of sore.
I know. I
If
should
you want
be
to do
okay.
those two and I can do this whole long.
Yeah, I think.
Okay,
Yeah,
you think
we'll
you'll be
see
able-
how we go.
Okay, you do what you can and then we'll go from there.
Okay. If a man sleeps with a female slave who is promised to another man, but who has not been ransomed or given her freedom, there must be due punishment. Yet they are not to be put to death, because she had not been freed. The man, however, must bring a ram to the entrance to the tent of meeting for a guilt offering to the Lord.
So, apparently if you sleep
The slave.
with a slave who is promised to someone else,
but who
but-
hasn't been freed yet.
correct, that's a no bueno,
Yep.
but at least you don't
Die.
which that seems to be a common thing back then. You know,
Yeah.
if you blow your nose on Tuesday after 7 o'clock at night, you must be put to death, you know.
I swear that's about how it feels.
So this one, at least, you know, it's bad. You shouldn't do it, but you just there's got to be a punishment, consequences for your actions. That's what we always tell our kids, consequences for your actions. So this one, you just got to sacrifice a ram as a guilt offering.
Yeah.
So not too
Back
bad.
then.
Yeah, back then. Now, I mean, we all know Christ came and paid the price, so at least we're not having to sacrifice rams anymore.
That's
Because
good.
I don't have any,
No, I don't have any either.
and you don't let us get farm animals out here.
No.
So,
No.
all right. After that, we go to Leviticus 19:29.
Do not degrade your daughter by making her a prostitute, or the land will turn to prostitution and be filled with wickedness. Yeah, you don't make your daughter a prostitute or your wife shall behead you.
Right. And that's death.
That's death.
It doesn't say it in the Bible, but trust me, that would be death if you pimp your daughters out. The
It'll be
wife,
bad.
it'll be bad for everybody involved. That you're going to have a bad day.
Yes, you're going to have a very
You're
bad
going to
day.
have a bad day. So, I mean, that seems like common sense.
To me,
You know, the odd thing is, back then, common sense was not so common. In appearance, I mean, I wasn't alive back then, but it appears that for God to have to lay this out in that detailed of a fashion, we must have been some pretty ignorant or just, I don't know, a blatant disregard for
a lot.
humans and just humanity. I mean, that just,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No bueno.
No bueno. Okay. So those two were quick and easy. We got them out of the way.
Next one's a big honker.
Yeah, and it's not going to be pretty. So this next set of verses, it's Leviticus 20:10 through 21. Goes back to what we talked about in our last episode about Leviticus with your sexual don'ts, However, this now, it's going to rehash everything we did. So please, again, don't hate us. Yes, we believe in this, but we do not judge anyone for what they do.
No.
This is our personal beliefs and how we choose to live our lives. And, we sin just like everyone else does. So we try to offer up the same mercy and grace and forgiveness that we would like to have offered to us. But this is going to deal with all that and the punishments for these actions. So if you missed our last episode on Leviticus and you don't want to go back and rewatch it, which I highly recommend you do just because we're cool like that. But this is going to rehash a lot of that. So I'll start. I'll probably finish. And we'll go from there. And I'm sure Kitten will interject along the way. So, if a man commits adultery with another man's wife, with the wife of his neighbor, I mean, does it have to be the neighbor?
I mean,
Coworker?
according to this, it does. So as long as it's not your neighbor, hey, you're safe.
Apparently, yeah. I'm not saying that, but it says with another man's wife, with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress are to be put to death. So, I mean, it sounds like adultery is a serious offense. Like blowing your nose on Tuesday after 5.
Yeah, don't do it.
Don't do it. If a man has sexual relations with his father's wife, he has dishonored his father. Both the man and the woman are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. So, again, don't bang your mom or your stepmom or anything like that, which I guess in turn that means don't bang your son or your stepson, right?
Well, you would think so.
Well,
I'm sure it's in here.
Well, I'm just saying, if a guy can't have sex, because that means he did it and they're both going to be put to death. So A plus B equals C.
I would agree.
All right. If a man has sexual relations with his daughter-in-law, both of them are to be put to death. What they have done is a perversion. Their blood will be on their own heads. So even daughter-in-laws. If a man has sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman, both of them have done what is detestable. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. So again, man on man
is not okay.
It is detestable. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, it is wicked. Both he and they must be burned in the fire so that no wickedness will be among you. Now that's taking it to the extreme.
Yeah, it is. That's
You
one
know?
heck of a way to die.
Yeah, I mean, the way it says it, it's almost like it's trying to root out a disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna, burn this
Gonna burn it
bacteria
out of
so
you.
so the wickedness will not be among us. I mean, it doesn't say they shall be put to death. It says they must be burned in the fire.
Ouch.
I'll give you an ouchie, yes.
Yeah.
That'll leave a mark.
That'll leave a mark.
So, I mean, that's pretty severe for marrying a woman and her mom.
Yeah, and they don't say how the other people die.
No.
Yet.
They just say they'll be put to death and the blood
Yeah.
will be on their own heads.
Yeah.
So, all right. If a man has sexual relations with an animal, he is to be put to death, and you must kill the animal. See, now,
Poor animal.
yeah, because that's like the animal, I'm sure, didn't consent to it,
No, I would imagine not.
But you got to kill the animal too. That's
At least you'll get a meal.
a meal. I get.
They didn't let anything go to waste.
They sure. Well, you couldn't. I mean, food wasn't. You couldn't go
It was a
down
scarcity.
to the local grocery store.
Yep.
You ate what you killed. If a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They are to be put to death. Their blood. How is their blood going to be on their own heads? Again, it's not like this animal is saying, "Oh yeah,
Yeah, I know.
sign me up."
Poor thing.
Poor
That's-
little goat.
Yeah.
But again, I do want to point out something. And again, I'm not trying to place guilt or shame anywhere, but this is very detailed. It still never says anything about a woman laying with another woman.
Not yet.
You know what I mean? We still have not hit that.
Nope.
So I just...
Except mother and daughter and
Right, family.
family.
You can't do
no,
family.
No family.
Which makes sense because, I mean...
Yeah, your family.
You see what happens with the gene pool when that happens.
True.
If a man marries his sister, the daughter of either his father or his mother, and they have sexual relations, it is a disgrace. They are to be publicly removed from their people. He has dishonored his sister and would be held responsible. Now, I need to kind of pause on that one. Because how's a man going to marry his sister? If it's detestable, who's going to actually
Who's gonna
perform
do
it?
it?
Yeah, who's going to marry them?
Yep. Unless they go out of their
They're
community.
and lie about it or something.
Lie about it.
Yeah,
And,
that's true. I didn't think about that.
I mean, that's the only way I can picture.
But then it also says that,
At least they don't die.
well, but I mean,
You're dishonored. And you're removed from your people.
all right.
You don't die.
And I mean, I guess that's good. Do you get to stay married?
I doubt it.
Well, who's going to say anything if they removed you from the people?
That's
You know.
true.
If they're like, get out,
Yeah.
I guess you can do what you want. But you notice how they add in there, if he marries and they have sexual relations. Well, if you marry someone, I would think you're going to have sexual relations.
Yeah. Normally.
We did.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Don't be telling people that.
It's a secret. So, I mean, again, they get very detailed in this for whatever reason, I don't know. And he says he has dishonored his sister. You notice the man causes a lot of the problems here.
This is what I always say.
The men cause the problems.
That's why the women have to take care of everything.
You're
Keep you in line.
You're correct. I ain't gonna argue that. That is a true story, people. Listen to me when I tell you. They say behind every man is a great woman holding the strings. you know. If a man has sexual relations with a woman during her monthly period, he has exposed the source of her flow. I think
Yep, he exposes it.
that's kind of and she has also uncovered it. Both of them are to be cut off from their people,
Wow.
right? For having sex with a woman on her period.
Yep.
But it doesn't say like how wrong it is. It just says they're to be cut off from their people.
Yep. You're not going to die.
You're not going to die. You're not going to, be unclean till dawn. You just get cut off from your people.
Right. But before they said that you had
Yeah.
to do all that
Yeah.
unclean business. So
They said they would be unclean.
Yep.
Yeah. Do not have sexual relations with the sister of either your mother or your father, for that would dishonor a close relative. Both of you would be held responsible.
That'd be your aunt.
Your aunts.
Your aunties.
Your aunties. Which makes sense.
Yes, because
You
that's
know.
family.
That is family. And you don't want to be, like I said, the gene pool gets thin in some places. And if a man has sexual relations with his aunt, he has dishonored his uncle. They will be held responsible. They will die childless. So God will make sure
That the aunt does not have
that
any
the aunt,
children.
exactly. If a man marries his brother's wife, it is an act of impurity. He has dishonored his brother. They will be childless. So there is a lot of punishments going on here.
A few.
A few?
Yeah.
Not all of them are
just,
death.
Just a few.
Yeah. So, I mean, they get real detailed in what you shouldn't do.
And some of them seem a little ridiculous.
Well, some of them, I mean, to me, seem a little extreme for the, okay, if I have sex with you on your period, I'm going to get cut off from my people.
Yeah.
Who's my, nowadays, I mean, we don't really have people.
No, not anymore.
We don't live in groups the way they did back then.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, it gets a little extreme.
Yep.
Yep.
I agree.
Now, all that being said, to kind of bring it back around to what this podcast is about, you've heard what God says is wrong sexually, right?
Right.
So if that's what's wrong sexually, anytime, in my opinion, going forward, if they talk about sexual immorality, it must be biblical sexual immorality, correct?
Or biblical sin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as of right now, we see what is biblically a sin and sexually immoral. It's been laid out
Up
to
to
us
now.
twice,
Yep.
right? Up till now.
Yep.
What's that tell you?
You can beat your wife.
You can beat your wife. You can flog her, It's got to be consensual. Let's make sure you understand. But yes, outside of this sexually immoral and the rules that God has just placed in front of us, have fun, right?
Yep.
I mean, it leaves things pretty wide open. When you stop and look at it,
and look at it, yeah.
God doesn't restrict us to, and I'm trying to think of how to put this. I know what I want to say, but I can't think of how to put it. Like, within the relationship, he doesn't restrict us to what we can do. If you look at most of this, I mean, we can't have sex when you're on your period, which we don't anyway.
Right.
But when you look at it, that's really the only thing within a relationship. Everything else is who you have the relationship with.
Right. Yep.
And
donkeys are not it.
Donkeys are definitely a no-go. So, I mean, enjoy sex with your spouse. you know, have fun with it, spankings are great, right?
Yes, sir.
I mean, some hair pulling does wonders,
Absolutely.
you know, pouring hot wax on nipples. It's there is nothing that says we cannot have fun and do BDSM, because there's nothing so far, and we're going through this in detail, people. If you can add something and find something that you want to throw our way up until this point, do it, because, I'm not saying I didn't miss something. I was trying to be as thorough as possible. I thought I was overdoing it. Some of these are just kind of weird little things, but
Some of them are very odd, obscure.
But if it dealt with a relationship or with sex,
Right.
I
You
tried
wanted to pull it.
Yeah, I wanted to pull it. It may not. So we are allowed to do these things
Yes, we are.
until I read. Like I said, I've read the Bible. This is my third or fourth time through it. I never went through it with this intent to discover this. I've always just read it and let it speak to me for what it was. But going through it with this intent to try to find something specific, this is my first time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And as of right now, this is what I got.
That's what we got.
This is what we got. So if your significant other, and now we keep saying, oh, it's okay to spank your wife and it's okay to pull her hair.
Only if it's consensual.
Correct. It's got to be consensual. But don't forget, it is also okay to do the flip.
Oh.
Don't forget that if the woman wants to be dominant in the bedroom like that,
That's okay too.
that's okay too. There is nothing wrong with the husband being the submissive.
So far, we've not seen anything that says that. No.
I mean, the only thing in the Bible that says anything about the man being dominant is, and it's not even really dominance, it's he's to be the spiritual leader of the house.
Right.
He is to lead the household. And that's fine, because when you get into it, it's meant to be led as a team, Mm-hmm. So that's fine. There is nothing saying that the man can't get his butt whipped just as much as the woman can get her butt whipped.
Unless the man says no.
Yeah, this man says no. This man does not like. I'm not a big fan of. I mean, I tried the stuff on myself to make sure I know how hard I'm hitting and what it feels like, but that's about as far as I go. I used to let her try it out on me until she lit me up one time. And I had second thoughts and thought better of that. So I tried to do it on my own.
Whoopsies. I didn't mean to.
I know you didn't. You sure laughed like you did, but
The dragon tails are stingy.
they are. I will guarantee that. They are very stingy. So anyway, you now have, up until this point, the framework that God has set.
He sent it to.
He sent it, yeah. You have the framework God has set for sexual relationships. Now, in Leviticus, there's a lot more to deal with the rest of our lives and what we should and should not do. But that's not what this podcast is about. We're just dealing with the sexual aspect of it all and relationship aspect of it all. Now, another thing I'd like to point out, I saw nothing in there about premarital sex or sex outside of marriage. But when I say outside of marriage, I mean if you are not a married person. It doesn't say.
Right. And
now
at least you're not going to someone who's been promised.
Yeah, don't go to someone who's been promised. Don't go to family members. Don't go to prostitutes.
Yeah.
And we did have one verse a few episodes back that said if you sleep with a woman who is promised and is a virgin, you've got to pay the dowry. That was, I forget, that was a while ago. But it's not saying that it is a sin. Like, let's say I die and you're flying solo and you find someone else who's single and don't want to get married. It doesn't say it's a sin for you guys to hook up. So far, we have not found that. Now, later, who knows? But so I'm not telling anyone to run right out and sleep around.
No, that's not the point here.
That's not the point. I'm just saying so far I've not seen anything that says, oh, you can't have sex until you get married. It does talk about, wanting the woman to be a virgin and this, that, and the other, but there's nothing solid that I can remember saying that you can't do it. If I'm misremembering, please let me know, because I want to make sure that we don't lead someone astray. So that was another fun episode.
Sorry.
You're tired. She's been sick.
Yeah.
So that's why we're a little slow getting these out. Is we've had some health problems, but we won't go into that. But hopefully next episode we're going to try to get back to some more of the kink and sex aspect of things. I realize we've been getting more biblical based, and we want to make sure we have a balance of that, because we don't want to hold one above the other, because we feel that
the Bible and kink are
okay.
equally.
Yeah, they're equally as important,
Yep.
because a healthy sex life makes for a healthy marriage, healthy relationship. So we're going to try to get back. We got part 2 of what we want to talk about with the internet and how that's affected people nowadays. So join us then. But I think this horse has been beat to death long enough. And I think Kitten needs some dinner and a nap.
Yes, sir.
Dinner and bedtime.
Yes, Master. That is.
That would be a correct statement.
That would be a correct statement.
So until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and God bless.